Hi. Welcome everyone. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Ob. I'm a co-founder here at Dandelion, and I run a live marketing series every Thursday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern if you're in the US, because we have people all over the world. I do this live on both YouTube and Instagram at the same time because efficiency is fantastic. So my eyes are gonna go all over the place. For those of you that don't know, Dandelion is a sustainable marketing agency, and we make a ton of content about marketing, about sustainability. If you like that sort of content, please like, subscribe, follow, etc. The algorithm likes it when you do that because it wants to know more about you, and so do we. Okay, so so today we're going to talk about website visitors and what you need to know at a glance. Specifically, I'm going to talk about what we track in Google Analytics and why it's important. So it's important also to remember that traffic is the metric that tells you whether your concept is good. So is your idea and what you're putting out there resonating with the audience that you speak to? Traffic is the metric that says yes or no. Makes sense, right? Like, are people willing to click a button to go to your website and see what you have going on? Our website is dandelionbranding.com in case you do want to go there. It's good. Okay. So Google Analytics has hella data, and it is very, very easy to get sucked in there. So one of my big tips and one of the biggest pitfalls is regularly going down the Google Analytics rabbit hole. It's super easy to do, to just kind of get stuck in there. And it's not a bad thing to do usually once every 3 months. In a brand, we suggest going through the Google Analytics rabbit hole. But if you're doing it every week, we send data reports and traffic reports every single week. If you're doing it every week and rabbit holing, there's a really good chance you're going to spend time focusing on small trends and really small data points, which doesn't super help you as a brand. So this is sort of the overview that we track. This data allows us to, at a glance, sort of look and see what are the trends, what's going on, what maybe needs to change. It also gives us an idea of a good place to start if we do see spikes and lulls in trends. So that's what we find important to keep in mind. Also, throughout this, if you have questions, you can always ask, or comments. You can always just drop them in the chats. They're open. That's why I do it live. So here's what we track. This is going to seem a little silly and really basic, but track the date range. We create date ranges on our spreadsheets that are mostly weekly, and it's the same days each week. But we also make sure that the lines that we're tracking are within a month, so that at the end of the year or the end of the quarter, definitely at the end of the quarter, we can look back at monthly data. So that's something that I want to say is important, because if you're just tracking week over week, it's possible, but it's also a little difficult to look at monthly data and monthly traffic data and say this is definitively what happened in April, for example. But pay attention to the dates really closely so that you can identify spikes and lulls over time. We track users and sessions. So You want to be able to see whether your traffic is trending up or down. Users in Google Analytics is how many individual people made it to your website. Sessions in Google Analytics is how many times your website was viewed. So typically your sessions are much higher. Well, not much higher, but sometimes they are, depending on the authority that you have. If your sessions are high, and your users are lower, it means that people are visiting your website more than once, and that probably means that they trust you. That's a good sign. It's a really good sign. This number and percentage is going to be different for every brand. So I'm not going to give a benchmark there of what we want to see in users versus sessions, but you definitely want to see sessions higher than users. If you're not, that's an indication that something is wrong. So yeah, track your bounce rate. Are people hanging out on your site? Are they going to more than one page, or are they leaving right away? Ideally, your bounce rate is lower than 70, 75 and higher than 35. Now, the reason why I give that bounce rate higher than 35 number is because if it's lower than 35%, there's a pretty good chance that something isn't right in your code. We actually had that happen. The code was firing twice, and we were like, hell yeah, people are going to our site. They're sticking around. No, our code was wrong. So yeah, that gives you a better idea. Okay, are people leaving right away? What pages are they leaving right away? Maybe those pages aren't loading very fast, or maybe, a high bounce rate is really common on blog articles. So if you're writing a lot of blog articles like we do, and you're answering really pointed questions, your bounce rate's going to be a little bit higher because, yeah, people go to your blog article, they read it, and then they say, thanks, bye, and they don't keep clicking around. There's good and bad to that. I'm not going to cover that right now. But yeah, so bounce rate, track it. If you see that people are leaving a ton, especially from your blog articles and your content, just optimize your blog page actually to entice people to click something else again. Okay, the next thing we track that I find to be pretty important, and maybe the most important thing to track, and also my favorite, is acquisition. You find this, it's literally acquisition in your Google Analytics drop down. This literally means, where are people coming from? How are people getting there? We put this all on a spreadsheet every week, and we track all of them for a brand. We track email, direct, social, organic, referral, paid, display. That's pretty much everything you see there. If there's something else, display was actually a new one that I started seeing this year. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to look at. But track your acquisition. How are people getting to your website? Are they coming from your emails? If they're coming from your emails, send more freaking emails, man. If they're coming, especially if your emails are selling, if your emails are selling and you're seeing that people are clicking them, send more emails. We'll talk about that when we talk about email, which I think is maybe next week or something. Are they coming direct to your site? Do you have backlinks out there that people are clicking? Dope. Get more backlinks. Maybe you have an affiliate program. We have a client that has an affiliate program, and his direct traffic is on point because affiliate programs are fantastic for that, right? So are they coming from social? What social posts? Then you go into your social data. Are they coming organically? Do you have an SEO, a search engine optimization strategy in place? If not, maybe make one, because your organic traffic is pulling in traffic. That's great. My dog might bark right now because there's a car outside, and she barks at cars that are on our street because I don't know. She's a city dog, but she does it, so just be aware. Anyway, literally whenever I see a spike in data, especially traffic or sales data, I check with Google Analytics to see if I can identify which channel the spike came from. on which date. Called it. Then I investigate what happened in order to get us there, right? If you see a spike in your data and you're like, whoa, this was big, I made a bunch of sales, figure out what happened. Go to your Google Analytics data on the date you made a bunch of sales or on a date you saw a big jump in traffic. If you're an e-commerce brand, fingers crossed these things come together at the same time. That would be great. But go to your Google Analytics data and say, all right, on, I don't know what date it is right now, on June 17th, I had a big ass day in sales. Where did this come from? Did it come direct? Where is that? Is it organic? Did somebody find me? If you are getting spikes in organic, that's dope. You don't see that very often, but if you do, fantastic. Whatever article that landing or whatever page that landing page came on, just make sure that it is optimized for sales, for clicking, whatever it is that page is for. I hope that made sense. I lost my train of thought for a second. Okay, yeah. So just always check if you see spikes, especially spikes in sales, where they're coming from. Use the acquisition in Google Analytics. Seriously, the more you do this, the more you look at that specific piece of data, the more you'll have an idea of where people are coming from, what your competitive edge is, and what people like in your audience. And that's really how you grow. If you see something good, keep doing it, man. That's how it goes. Yeah. Okay, what else to track? New versus returning. This is kind of the same thing as the users' sessions information, but are you getting return visitors? Are people coming back? Are you an authority? If that's really the answer to this question. If you're getting return visitors on a regular basis, people are trusting you. You're becoming an authority in your brand. Actually, we just wrote an article about how to become an authority for your audience. That's on our website now. If you go to dandelionbranding.com/DB journal, it should be the right DB-journal, or you can just go to dandelionbranding.com and look at content in the blog. It's up there. It's right there. How to be an authority in your niche. That this metric will help you to know if you are being an authority. Are people coming back? Are people going, I wonder what they think about this topic. Let me go see if I can find it. I have questions. And they search for you. Look at that. You did it. You did it. That's like 80% of your goal when you're trying to build a brand. That's what you're doing. You want people to come back for you because they trust you, and then they love you, and then they buy things from you. Good job. The last thing to check, always keep notes, but the last thing to track is the tech that they come on. If this one feels silly for a lot of people in the beginning, because it's like, why do I care if they're coming on mobile or desktop or tablet? Why am I two people come to my website on tablet? I don't know. Maybe there are websites that get lots of tablet visitors. If your website gets lots of tablet visitors, can you let me know? Because I've never seen one. But yeah, knowing what device people come from is very, very, very helpful for you to know what to optimize for. The most common example we see of this is if people are coming in on mobile, but most of your purchases are from desktop, it's a really good idea to optimize purchases for mobile. And that doesn't mean unoptimize for desktop. I think that's a really common misconception when somebody says optimize for mobile. That doesn't, especially now, it doesn't mean only optimize for mobile, because now you can build websites that have a mobile cart and a desktop cart. They can run that way. Technology is fantastic. just make sure that it's easy for your traffic, no matter what type of tech they come on, to buy from you, to look at your website, to purchase. This is a user experience, and maybe that's like um something that's a little bit more advanced, but looking at your data, looking at and saying, like, if people are purchasing on desktop, but 2/3 of my traffic is on mobile, why aren't they purchasing on mobile? You know? So track their tech, look at that. And finally, keep notes. Like, I always have a notes column on all of my spreadsheets because I love spreadsheets. Hi, I'm Aubrey, and I love spreadsheets. But keep a notes column, because that you will absolutely forget week over week the things that you are tracking, the things that you notice. If you notice that, yeah, your mobile traffic was high this week, or you're getting a lot of return visitors this week, and then you go and look at, like, what you kind of can go deeper into the Google Analytics world. Your return traffic, what were they returning to? Was it an article? Did you post something that your audience really resonated with, and so they came back again? Did you send an email, and did that email do really well? Keep track of that stuff in a notes column, because it's going to make a huge difference in the long run. Remember, you're looking for trends. You are looking for really interesting information about your audience. Do they like something? Did they not like something? Did you see a lull? Were people, like, not into it? Did you make a website change? If you made a website change, put it in your notes column, because I guarantee you that you will see changes in your traffic, and you will forget which week. I do it all the time. I'm not perfect, but I do this all the time, where I forget what week or what day I made a website update. And then, like, I'm looking at the traffic and something has changed a little bit, whether it's, traffic is moving through here more, or it's not as optimized, or maybe it's just higher quality traffic, but less quantity traffic. That's really common if you make SEO updates. So make sure that you just keep notes on things so that you can always refer back. Oh, yeah, this is what I think changed, or what I think happened, or what trend I'm looking at. Super helpful. Great tip. Just giving myself a little tooting my horn a little bit, because that's been a really big help for me over the past decade of doing this. Yeah, that's it. I have one more tip for you guys. Be patient. Like, just don't forget that this whole thing, tracking your data, looking at it week over week, making sure that things are basically trending up, it can feel frustrating. More often than not, you will, especially if you're tracking week over week, you're going to say, regular week here in traffic land, regular week here in traffic land, nothing big, just regular old stuff. But be patient, because you're looking for trends, and you're building a brand that will sustain you, that over time will grow, and probably is growing, but it's hard to see when you're really looking too close. Our timeline for patience, to benchmark this for you, is roughly 3 months. So when we first take on a brand, we pretty much keep everything the same for about 3 months, so that we can look at a benchmark, or we look at data for that amount of time. A quarter is a really good indicator of basic trends. And then we make changes and watch them over the next 3 months. So basically, I pull deeper reports quarterly, and make changes and strategy updates quarterly, with weekly data and monthly data. I know that sounds like a lot, because it is a lot, but it is one of the best ways to grow your traffic and give your audience what they really want. And that's what I have for you. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. It's really hot here, and that's wonderful. I hope it's warm and sunny and beautiful where you are, and the bees are out and the flowers are smiling and all of that good stuff. Have a beautiful day, everyone, and I will see you next week. Bye. I think I want like this. Yes.